大家好，我是 Olive Branch Down. So we have been talking a lot about low carb diet and why eating less carbs is good for you. But there are some carbohydrates that are actually good for you, like vegetables, for example, fibrous vegetables to be specific. And there's one specific type of carbohydrates that actually is quite good for you, and it's called resistant starches. And you may have heard of this. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what it is, if it's good for you, and how much you should take if so. So as the name suggests, resistant starches is a polysaccharide, it's a complex carbohydrate, and it's fibrous, meaning it's roughage. It passes through the body. And so it's actually not digestible, and you don't absorb any calories from it. It passes through your body. It's roughage, meaning there's bulk, and it actually makes you feel more full. So it affects your hormonal state when you eat resistant starches. Your leptin level goes up, and your peptid YY hormone also goes up. And these are both satiating hormones. It makes you full. It makes you feel full, and that means you stop eating. Less calories in means less fat. So as it passes through your gut, okay, since it's not getting absorbed, your bacteria in your gut, which is your microflora, which we talked about in an earlier video, you can refer back to it, actually starts to feed on it. Okay, so the bacteria that's in your gut, it starts to eat this resistant starches. And when it does that, they actually are much more powerful, they're stronger, and they thrive, which actually is good for you because it crowds out the bad bacteria that's in your gut that causes disease. And so when it feeds your microbiome, the byproduct actually is a short chain fatty acid called butyrate. And this is actually really good for you because it actually causes a lot of health benefits, such as it increases blood flow to the colon, to the gut. It increases your absorption of the good nutrients in your body. It actually blocks out some of the toxic compounds in the food. And it also actually inhibits growth of the bad bacteria. And the last point why it's actually good to have some resistant starches is because it actually improves your biomarkers. For example, it increases your good cholesterol, so your blood lipid level is improved. And we talked about that also in an earlier video about cholesterol as well as your physical report. Which actually is really good for your immune system as well, because your gut, your bacteria in the gut actually is a big source of immune system influence. So the better your gut flora, the better your immune system. With more resistant starches, that actually helps to slow down the absorption of glucose or sugar into the bloodstream. That's what fiber does. It acts as a barrier. And so your blood sugar levels and hence your insulin levels are much better balanced. They're more maintained. It's a steady flow instead of a sharp spike. So it improves on that as well. Lastly, it's also really good for your bowel movements, your fecal matter, which is your poop. And that's because it actually helps to give it more bulk, and so it clears through the colon faster, as well as it lowers the pH level. It makes it more acidic, but actually is a good thing. So where can you find resistant starches? Well, it's actually quite prevalent in a normal fibrous diet anyways. It's like in rice, it's in corn, it's in barley, it's in wheat. And so you can actually refer back to this chart that we'll have uploaded here, and it tells you that there's actually 5 categories of different types of resistant starches. So there's many categories. The thing that you should note that is that certain starches, that when you cook them, it changes it, okay? And then when you let it cool down, like cool down rice, or once you cook potatoes and when you let it cool down, it actually changes the category of the resistant starch. So that's a minor detail that you can look up. So it's actually quite good for you when you cook rice and you let it cool down, and you can fry it up again and reheat it, and actually it becomes more available for you. What you can take, how much of it should you take? The recommendation is about 20 grams of resistant starch per day. And studies have shown that it can be safe up to 40 grams per day. But the rule or the advice is that you should increase the uptake gradually, because it is quite fibrous, meaning that your gut still has to process it, your microbiome. And so it can cause some gas, so farting, but also it can cause some bloating if you're not used to eating so much of it. So my recommendation is just, if you're going to eat more of it, just slowly allow your body to adapt more and more of it. So how should you be taking resistant starch? Because now it's actually becoming more and more popular. You might see it in supplement form. But the recommendation is actually to eat it as a whole food. So you don't want to take it as a supplement, as an isolated pill, nor should you take it as a liquid form. Like, don't blend it and make it into a smoothie. It's best to eat it like it's part of your plate. So that's it on resistant starches, guys. There's constant research being done on it, as it's a new field, and so there's new insights coming out all the time. But overall, it seems pretty positive, and I suggest that you do want to eat it, especially if you're not going to completely zero carb diet. Then resistant starches should definitely be a part of a balanced diet. I hope you found that useful, guys. As always, please leave any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.